Star Wars 7x7, episode 1773 today. 2 more interviews from Celebration Chicago with 2 gentlemen who have been long-time and very dear supporters of Star Wars 7x7. Let's go. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode where I am sharing my conversations with Dennis Keithly and Tim McMahon. So Dennis Keithly is one of the triumvirate of folks at the Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels podcast, and Tim McMahon is a podcaster emeritus, formerly of Less Than 12 Parsecs, also formerly of the Expanded Fandomverse, and for a brief time he and I were doing a show called the Expanded Comic Verse 2. Both of these gentlemen have been longtime supporters of Star Wars 7x7 and are both patrons of the show. Tim actually was the first person to invite me on a podcast for an interview as opposed to someone that I was interviewing for the show. And, you know, just having people who see what you're doing and believe in what you're doing is a very significant part of what makes any endeavor possible. And in the early days when I was doing a daily podcast and thinking to myself, this is insane. How can I possibly be carrying off a daily podcast? To see people like Tim and like Dennis react the way that they did about the show and support me the way that they have over the years has been very foundational for me. I mean, you don't get to 1,700 plus episodes without support in the early days. And the support and the good wishes and the patronage of people like Tim and Dennis have been, you know, something that continues to sustain me until this day. And so today, I am sharing with you interviews with the 2 of them. I get to see Tim from time to time, but Dennis lives in Texas, and so I don't get to see him except at Celebration, and I was very pleased to be able to see him again in Chicago. I saw him in Orlando 2 years ago. And so, naturally, I decided to ask them the one-question interview that I've been asking everybody else. And so, after the break, I'll share with you their answers for when it comes to Star Wars. What do they know for sure? And before I go, I will say to you that I'm so grateful that you're here with me for this episode. And, of course, may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be on this Mother's Day here in the United States and beyond. Stay with me after the break, and then Tim and Dennis will be joining me. Hey there. If you're enjoying all the coverage that I'm bringing you from Star Wars Celebration and what I do every single day for you at Star Wars 7x7, I hope you'll consider putting something in the tip jar at patreon.com/SW7x7. $1, $3.27, $5.01 or more. Honestly, every little bit helps, and every little bit is just as exciting as every other little bit. Please consider supporting me in the work of delivering Star Wars stories and interviews to you on a daily basis at patreon.com/SW7x7. All right, tell me your name and your claim to fame.
I am Tim McMahon, host of Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy.
Excellent.
All right.
And so here's the big question.
Okay.
When it comes to Star Wars, what do you know for sure?
I know for sure I'm going to have fun and I'm going to have friends. To me, I've not had a bad time with Star Wars, ever. Like, no matter what I do, if it's Star Wars related, it's always great. And then the friends part, you know, it's an instant friendship. For example, we're at Star Wars Celebration right now. I was stuck in the airport in Detroit waiting for my flight to Chicago, and I see people with the same t-shirt as me. I'm like, hey, Celebration! And they're like, yeah! Instant friends. You know, we sat there and chatted for an hour. It was, you know, and I've had that experience many, many times. And so yeah, fun and friendship. That's Star Wars. I know that.
I love the answer.
Okay.
Tim, where can people find out more about you and Less Than 12 Parsecs?
Less-than-12parsecs.com. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I should know my own URL. 12parsekspodcast.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. What's your name and what's your Star Wars claim to fame?
I am Dennis Keithly, and I'm the co-host of Starship, Sabers, and Scoundrels, and a comic reviewer over on RetroZap.com. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so here's the big question. When it comes to Star Wars, what do you know for sure?
I know for sure that Star Wars is the modern mythology, and it is expansive to the point that it has covered everything that our classical mythologies covered in the past. And what makes it truly great is that it transcends Eastern and Western mythologies and takes inspiration from them both. To the point now we got stories that appeal to all generations and people from all walks of life. The great tragedies, the great comedies, the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker, and it's something. There's something there for everyone now.
I love that answer. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And so, where can people follow you online?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at DJKVER2. My podcast is at SQPod, and you can find my podcast over on RetroZap.com /Starship Sabers and Scoundrels.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.